Morning, everybody. Chuck Simpson again. I'm going to name this short video, "Why Do They Need My Utility Bill?" And this is just another video in the series I put together called "Get the Facts About Solar So You Don't Get Ripped Off." Well, the primary reason a good solar company is going to ask for your utility bill, I can answer that in 2 words. They're honest. Simply put, without your utility bill, we cannot calculate the usage that your family is using as far as kilowatt hours in order to determine what size system you need. So with most people obviously being familiar with solar, but not really knowing how it's all put together, just like car buyers, they're payment shoppers. If you meet with 2 or 3 solar companies and they all kind of sound like they're giving you the same information, but you end up perhaps going with the lowest payment, not realizing that the adage we've heard so many times before, you get what you pay for. Many times the lowest payment is not going to meet your needs. So I want to take a couple minutes and show you how to calculate this on your own to make sure that whoever you're talking with or whatever solar company you decide to move forward with and help you and earn your business is being fair and being honest with you. So let me go ahead and share my screen here for a moment. And I'm going to bounce around a bunch here because when I took the pictures with my phone and uploaded it to my email, I somehow got them all jumbled up. But just to give you an idea, I'm going to give you 2 examples. This first one is an FPL bill here in Florida. And if you can see the $180 bill, there was a $5 late fee, which I didn't use to calculate their usage. So at $175.20 divided by the 111, which there it is, or 1111, their usage shows you that currently FPL is charging them almost 16 cents a kilowatt. Now, you know as well as I do, these big utility companies creep up annually 2 or 3 times a year. They bump your price up and average anywhere between 6-7% a year. They increase your payments. FPL recently hit everybody across the board with a 10% increase and blamed it on Ian last year. And Duke Energy, much higher, hit everybody with a 20% increase and did the same thing. They blamed it on Ian. In my opinion, lots of folks are getting smart and switching to solar and owning their own power. They're losing a lot of customers. So in turn, they're charging the existing customers higher rates in order to justify their profits to their shareholders. So not to get into a big story there, let's just get back to this. So at almost 16 cents a kilowatt, you can see they used 17,774 kilowatts annually. And I want to show you how I calculated that. FPL is going to give us a grid like this, and we have to manually line that up and get as close as we can to determining the usage that these folks are using. So going back to that 17,774, if you remember correctly. Now I'm going to hop over to their design. This particular system at 13.6 kilowatts, this is one of the first things you want to look for when you meet with a solar company. You want to be able to determine, like I just showed you, how to calculate how much power you need. And then you want to see that the system they're proposing to you is going to cover that power. So here at 17,725, you remember they were 17,744. In this particular case, not to get into, equipment and all that, but this Duo that you see right here, I'm going to give you the short explanation. And that's because this particular panel collects some power, 4 or 5%, on the back of the panel as the sun bounces off your roof. So at 17,725, just being honest with this customer, I already know that this system is going to produce more than that because we give them a written production guarantee knowing that we're going to be able to produce more. So I don't need to add an extra panel and charge them more money just to make more money or charge them more. It just doesn't make sense. So in this particular case, 17,725 or 13.6 kilowatts is all this consumer needs. Now, if I scroll down a little bit more, the next thing that's very important that you need to be concerned with when you're looking at a solar system is, what is my offset? What that means is at 100% right here, 100% of the usage that your family is currently using in electric will be produced on your roof with this particular solar system. Now, a lot of guys don't tell you about this, but that's what you want to look for. You want to look for anywhere between 100 and 110 if you might use a little bit more, or you might be thinking about an EV or electric car or doing some changes, you want to go a little higher. But in this case, you can see their current utility bill was $214. Now that's prior to taxes and fees. If you remember back here, I can go back real quick and show you. Where is it here? Just give me a moment. I'll get back to it. Here we go. That's, oh, there we go. $233.57 is actually what their bill is, with all the fees and all the nonsense that they charge right here. So this is just strictly power. Their particular solar replacement at $157. Now this is actually a lease. This is another thing to pay attention to. A lot of seniors or people on fixed incomes are not going to qualify for that income tax credit. So selling them a solar system today is only going to hurt them in 18, 19 months when that increase of $60, $70, $80, whatever it is, ends up on their bill. So if you're watching this and you're currently retired and comfortable and someone is showing you a purchase and you're not paying cash, you want to ask them, how much am I going to get back from the government? And if they tell you you're going to get 15, 16, 17,000, whatever number they tell you, ask them to prove that in writing, because I can assure you, if you're not paying the tax in anymore as a retired person, you're not going to get anything back. That's just common sense. So in this particular case with this lease, these folks went from $233 to $157, and that's a fixed payment. They don't have to worry about it being $400 in July or August and bouncing all over. You can pretty much set your budget to that. So let me go back and show you one other customer, which I've used this example multiple times for the exact same reasons. Now, this is a Duke Energy bill. What I like about Duke Energy, let me get to the screen I want to show you. What I like about Duke Energy is they show you right on the front of the bill what the customer's annual usage is. See, in this particular case, this customer uses just over 30,000 kilowatts in a year. So now to go back to figure out what their bill is, if you just increase this a little bit and look at all the nonsense they charge here, but if you look down here, this $472.58, which is their current bill, divided by the 2,238 kilowatts that they used in this billing cycle, shows that Duke Energy is currently charging them just over 21 cents a kilowatt, which is kind of ridiculous, because this particular customer, and again, I don't want to get too off what I want to explain in this video, but this particular customer lives in a very affluent area, and these utility companies charge people that live in more expensive areas more money for the exact same amount of power. And I don't think that's fair, but that was all, I vented all that out on another video. So in this particular case, this customer average utility bill is $535. And if we go over to look at their system, remember the kilowatts that they used annually, here their particular system is going to produce over 30,000 kilowatts, so they're fine. And you can see the design. Now back to something else, which is very important about why we need your utility bill. This is what some folks do. Before I get to that, let me scroll down and just show you. Here we still have 101% offset, which means 101% of this current customer's utilities are no longer going to be bought from Duke Energy. They're going to be bought from, or not bought from, but basically generated on their roof with their own solar system. So if you remember, $450 plus all the taxes and fees, their average utility bill was $535, I believe. Now they're down to $327 with solar. So you can see this particular customer uses so much power, they're saving about $200 a month. And that's just the first month, the first year, because every year as Duke continues to increase, their payment stays the same. Now, let me show you another trick that I'll just flat out say scumbag salespeople will do to folks trying to make a sale. Now, if you're this particular customer and you're saving a couple $100 a month, you should be pretty happy because, hey, that's not bad. I think I'll move forward with this company. And then you get, let's say, I don't know what to call them. I'm not going to use a bad word, but I'll go back to scumbag. You get a scumbag that doesn't explain the offset, doesn't explain the actual way that these systems work. And if you go in and look at this particular diagram and you just knock out some of these green panels, remember I was at 101%. Now, if I knock off just a handful of panels here and I don't explain anything to the customer as to why I did that, and this particular customer doesn't know anything about offset because scumbag salesperson didn't explain it to them, you can see their offset dropped to 89%. Now, the customer that doesn't know any better is just going to say, hey, this nice guy Chuck showed me $327, but this guy's $288. I think I'm going to move forward with this guy because that looks like a pretty good deal. Well, the problem is at 89%, that means quite a bit of your power is still going to have to be generated from your utility company, and they're going to continue to increase your rates. You can see this dropped over 4,000 kilowatts. And I can take it a little further because a lot of these guys are much worse than this. An average consumer from the ground is looking at all the panels and they're like, hey, that looks pretty good. But maybe what they're not paying attention to is that this just dropped to 79% and they don't know any better. So let's scroll down a little bit more. The third guy that comes in is at 260. Hey, honey, let's move forward with this one. I'm tired of meeting with all these people. And this customer has no idea that signing this agreement and going into this particular arrangement with this solar company is going to actually hurt them. So the reality is you want to always learn why we ask for the utility bill so that the honest salesperson can actually calculate and teach you how to do this yourself so that you don't get ripped off. And I can't think of a better way to just end by saying, get the facts about solar before you move forward. Make sure nobody rips you off. And whether or not you're interested in having solar on your home, if you just want some free information so that you can make an honest decision and learn what makes sense and get the facts about your particular home, give us a call or respond however you got this email, and I'm happy to provide a complete energy savings report for you and your family at no obligation to purchase anything. But just in case you decide to move forward with solar and you know you're making the right decision, we're certainly happy to help you. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.